The power of discipline over motivation is one of the greatest truths that separate those who only dream from those who actually achieve. Motivation feels good. It is that spark, that sudden rush of energy that pushes you to start something. It makes you feel unstoppable for a moment, but just like a flame that quickly burns out if there is no fuel, motivation fades. When life becomes heavy, when the day feels longer than usual, or when obstacles stand in your way, motivation disappears. This is where most people quit. They say they no longer feel inspired, so they wait for that spark to return. But those who understand the deeper truth do not rely on fleeting emotions. They rely on discipline. Discipline is the foundation of transformation. It is the ability to keep moving forward, even when you don't feel like it. It is the commitment to the process, regardless of mood or circumstance. Motivation might get you to the gym one day, but discipline is what takes you there every day, even when it rains, even when you are tired, even when no one is watching. Motivation might get you to start a project, but discipline is what keeps you working on it long after the excitement has vanished. Discipline is not about doing something once. It is about creating a pattern, a system, a habit that turns action into a lifestyle. The truth is, feelings are unreliable. You cannot build a life on feelings because they change too quickly. One morning you may feel energized, the next you may feel drained. If you let feelings guide your actions, you will live inconsistently. Discipline is the anchor. It says, I will do this not because I feel like it, but because I have committed to it. That commitment turns effort into results and results into progress. Consider the life of a martial artist. In the beginning, every movement feels difficult. Motivation may push the student to attend the first few sessions, filled with excitement about learning something new. But soon, the training becomes repetitive, painful, and exhausting. Most students will leave at this point, claiming they have lost the drive. But the ones who remain are not fueled by motivation. They are fueled by discipline. They wake up every morning, tie their belt, and train, not because they feel motivated, but because they know that only through consistent practice will they sharpen their skills. Years later, those students become masters, not because they had more motivation, but because they had more discipline. The same principle applies to every area of life: fitness, studies, business, relationships, and personal growth. A person who relies on motivation will always stop and start, stop and start. Their journey will be scattered, filled with unfinished goals, but the disciplined person creates stability. Even on bad days they do something. Even on tired days they take a step. It may be small, but it is progress. And progress compounds, day by day, step by step. Discipline builds an unshakable foundation. Let's take a simple example. Imagine two people decide to read one book a month. The first person relies on motivation. They start the first book with excitement, but halfway through, their energy fades. They stop reading for weeks, waiting to feel motivated again. The second person relies on discipline. They commit to reading 10 pages every day, no matter what. Some days they feel interested, some days they feel bored, but they read anyway. After a year, the first person may have finished 2 or 3 books. The second person, through discipline, has finished 12. Multiply this habit over 5 years, and the difference is enormous. The disciplined person has transformed their mind, expanded their knowledge, and created opportunities that the other person missed simply because they chose motivation over discipline. Another way to see the difference is in health and fitness. Motivation may get you to eat healthy for a week, but discipline is what keeps you from reaching for junk food late at night when no one is around. Motivation may get you to sign up for a gym membership, but discipline is what keeps you showing up when your muscles ache, when the weather is bad, or when you would rather sleep. The results are visible. Those who are disciplined change their bodies, their energy levels, and their confidence. Those who rely on motivation see temporary results at best, and then return to old habits. The true power of discipline is that it creates freedom. At first, discipline feels like restriction. It feels like you are forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do. But over time, discipline gives you control. When you are disciplined with money, you gain financial freedom. When you are disciplined with health, you gain physical freedom. When you are disciplined with your goals, you gain the freedom of living a purposeful life. Motivation cannot give you this freedom because it is inconsistent. Only discipline creates lasting change. There will always be moments when you don't want to keep going. Discipline is the voice inside you that says, do it anyway. When you train your mind to obey that voice, you become unstoppable. You no longer wait for the perfect moment or the perfect feeling. You act, and by acting, you create the perfect results. Here is a short example that captures this truth. Imagine a young man who decides to learn the piano. In the first week, he is excited. He practices for hours because he feels motivated. But soon, the excitement fades. His friends invite him out, his work becomes stressful, and he no longer feels like practicing. Most people would quit at this stage, but this young man chooses discipline. Every day, no matter how busy or tired he is, he sits down and practices for 30 minutes. A year passes, and while others gave up, he can now play songs beautifully. His friends ask, "How did you learn so well?" He does not say, "I was always motivated." He says, "I was disciplined." That is the secret. Discipline is greater than motivation because discipline does not depend on mood, weather, or circumstance. It does not care whether you feel like it or not. It simply asks, will you keep your promise to yourself? And when you do, day after day, you build trust within yourself. You prove that you are capable of following through. That trust becomes self-respect, and self-respect becomes strength. So remember this, motivation is a guest, discipline is a master. Motivation visits and leaves when it wants. Discipline stays, lives with you, and transforms you. If you want to change your life, do not chase motivation. Build discipline, because when motivation fails, and it will, discipline will carry you forward until you reach the life you deserve. Your mind is your strongest weapon because everything you do, everything you achieve, and everything you become starts with a single thought. The body is powerful, but it is only a servant of the mind. If the mind is weak, the body will crumble. If the mind is sharp, the body will find a way to endure, to overcome, and to rise. History has proven time and time again that strength does not belong only to those with physical power, wealth, or resources. True strength belongs to those who can master their mind, direct their thoughts, and command themselves in the face of difficulty. Your mind shapes your reality. Two people can face the same situation, but their outcomes will be completely different depending on how they think about it. One person will see a problem and say, "This is too hard, I cannot handle it." The other person will face the same challenge and say, "This is difficult, but I will find a way." The situation is identical, but the results are worlds apart because the mind determines action, and action determines outcome. This is why your mind must be trained like a weapon. A weapon left unsharpened becomes useless. A mind left untrained becomes your greatest enemy, filling you with doubt, fear, and excuses. But a trained mind becomes your greatest ally, helping you cut through obstacles and see opportunity where others see defeat. Strength of mind is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing how you respond to reality. Life will never be free from challenges. Pain, loss, and setbacks are part of the human journey. You cannot control what happens, but you can always control your mind's response. That control is what separates the weak from the strong. When the mind is strong, it does not allow circumstances to dictate direction. It stays steady, focused, and determined. This inner stability is what keeps a person moving forward when everyone else has stopped. One of the greatest truths about the mind is that it believes what you repeatedly tell it. If you constantly feed it with negative thoughts, I am not good enough, I will never succeed, I cannot change, then your mind begins to accept those words as truth, and your actions will reflect them. But if you discipline your mind to think with power, I am capable, I am strong, I can endure, I will find a way, then your mind accepts that reality and gives your body the energy to live it. This is why the words you speak to yourself are more important than the words anyone else speaks to you. If you want a stronger life, you must first build a stronger mind. Training the mind requires the same patience as training the body. You do not become strong after lifting weights once. You become strong after lifting them every day, even when it is uncomfortable. The mind works the same way, reading, reflecting, practicing focus, building discipline, and refusing to be controlled by fear or doubt. These are the mental repetitions that strengthen your inner weapon. Slowly, your thoughts become clearer, your decisions become sharper, and your willpower becomes unbreakable. A strong mind also has the ability to endure pain. The body will often tell you to stop long before you have truly reached your limit. The muscles ache, the breath shortens, the heart pounds, and the body says, enough. But a strong mind looks past that pain and says, I can continue. The body then follows, revealing a deeper reserve of strength you never knew you had. This is why marathon runners, soldiers, athletes, and great leaders are not only physically strong, but mentally trained to keep going when their body begs to quit. Let me share a short but powerful example. There was once a student who wanted to learn how to meditate under a great master. He sat down every day to practice, but his mind was restless. Thoughts flooded in, hunger, boredom, doubt, impatience. He wanted to give up. He told the master, I cannot do it, my mind is too loud. The master replied, that is exactly why you must continue. So the student kept practicing. Day after day he trained his mind to return to stillness, even when distractions screamed at him. Months later, he noticed that not only could he meditate, but his entire life changed. He was calmer in conflict, more focused at work, and more resilient when problems arose. Why? Because he had learned that his mind was not a cage, it was a weapon. He no longer let his thoughts control him. He controlled his thoughts, and in doing so, he became strong from the inside out. This example shows that your greatest battles are not fought outside in the world, but inside in your mind. If you conquer your thoughts, you conquer your life. If you allow your thoughts to control you, then even the smallest challenges will feel like impossible mountains. The world is filled with distractions, negativity, and chaos. If your mind is not strong, you will be pulled in every direction and lose yourself. But if your mind is strong, you can walk through the storm without losing balance, without losing focus, without losing yourself. The mind is also the birthplace of vision. Every invention, every achievement, every dream realized in history began first in the mind of someone who refused to let doubt destroy them. Airplanes, electricity, technology, medicine, all of it began as an idea. Ideas are fragile at first. They can be destroyed by fear, ridicule, or self-doubt. But when the mind is strong, it protects the vision and nurtures it until it becomes reality. This is why your mind is the strongest weapon. It can turn nothing into something, the invisible into the visible. To truly understand this, imagine two soldiers entering battle. One has the best armor, the strongest body, but a mind filled with fear and hesitation. The other has ordinary equipment, but a mind that is steady, focused, and unafraid. Who will last longer? Who will fight with courage? It will always be the one with the stronger mind. Tools and weapons are only extensions of the person using them. The real battle is always won or lost in the mind first. So, the question becomes, are you sharpening your mind every day, or are you letting it become dull through distractions, doubts, and excuses? Are you feeding it strength, or are you poisoning it with negativity? Your mind will believe whatever you train it to believe. If you make it strong, it will carry you through storms, pain, and challenges, and it will lead you towards success. If you make it weak, it will break at the first sign of resistance, and all your dreams will collapse with it. Your mind is your strongest weapon. Use it with intention. Train it with discipline, protect it from weakness, direct it with purpose. And when life tests you, you will discover that nothing outside of you has the power to defeat you as long as your inner weapon remains sharp, focused, and unbreakable. Consistency creates transformation because nothing in life changes permanently from what you do once in a while. It changes because of what you do every single day. A single act of effort can bring progress, but repeated effort brings lasting transformation. Success is not about grand gestures done occasionally. It is about small actions repeated consistently over time until they reshape your habits, your character, and your destiny. Human beings often underestimate the power of consistency. We want quick results, immediate success, and overnight change. But life does not work that way. True growth is a slow, steady process. Just as drops of water falling on a stone eventually carve it, small daily actions, if repeated long enough, reshape the person you are. Consistency is the bridge between who you are today and who you want to become tomorrow. Transformation does not come from intensity alone, it comes from persistence. You can work hard for a day, a week, or even a month, but if you stop, the results will fade. However, if you show up every day, even with smaller steps, your progress compounds. Each repetition strengthens your mind, sharpens your skills, and builds your momentum. Transformation is not a sudden explosion. It is a gradual evolution, crafted through countless daily choices that may seem insignificant in the moment, but lead to extraordinary results over time. Consistency is also a teacher. It trains you to build trust with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you prove to your mind that you are reliable. You no longer see yourself as someone who quits easily, but as someone who follows through. That self-trust is one of the greatest gifts consistency gives you. It shifts your identity. You stop saying, "I want to be someone who exercises," and instead you say, "I am someone who takes care of my health every day." That identity shift is the foundation of transformation. Think of nature as an example. A seed does not grow into a tree overnight. It requires daily sunlight, daily water, and daily nourishment. If you stop feeding it for weeks, and then suddenly pour a huge amount of water one day, it will die. The tree needs consistent care, not occasional intensity. In the same way, your goals and dreams require steady nourishment. If you abandon them when you do not see quick results and only return when you feel inspired, they will wither. But if you care for them consistently, they will grow into something powerful and unshakable. One of the biggest obstacles people face is boredom with repetition. Doing the same positive action every day can feel dull, and the mind seeks novelty. But this is where strength is built. When you train yourself to stay consistent even when it feels boring, you are shaping a deeper level of resilience. You are telling yourself that your commitment is stronger than your mood. And it is precisely that discipline, repeated day after day, that creates transformation. Another hidden truth about consistency is that it magnifies small efforts. Doing one push-up seems pointless. Reading one page of a book feels insignificant. Saving $1 seems too little. But when done every day, the push-ups strengthen the body, the pages create wisdom, and the saved money builds wealth. Consistency multiplies the effect of small actions, turning them into life-changing outcomes. Transformation, therefore, is not about huge leaps. It is about steady steps taken again and again until the distance covered is greater than you could have imagined. Consistency also creates momentum. At first it feels hard to start, the body resists, the mind complains, and progress feels slow. But with each repeated action the task becomes easier. Habits form, resistance weakens, and momentum takes over. Soon the effort that once felt heavy becomes natural, automatic, and effortless. This is when transformation accelerates. What once required discipline now feels like part of your identity, and that identity sustains the change. Consider a short but excellent example. Imagine a young woman who decides she wants to get healthier. She sets a simple goal, to walk for 30 minutes every day. The first week, she feels motivated and excited. The second week, the weather is bad, her schedule is busy, and her energy is low. Many would quit at this stage, waiting for the perfect time to restart, but she chooses consistency. Rain or shine, tired or not, she walks. Some days she enjoys it, some days she does not, but she does it anyway. After a month, she notices small changes. Her energy is better, her mood is lighter. After 6 months, her body has transformed, her endurance has grown, and her health has improved. After a year, people ask her what her secret is. She does not say she had endless motivation or that she followed a perfect plan. She simply says, "I stayed consistent." That is the power of consistency. It transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. This example highlights that the real magic is not in doing something perfectly, but in doing it regularly. Perfection is not required, persistence is. Consistency allows room for mistakes, bad days, and setbacks. You can miss once, stumble once, or fail once, but as long as you return the next day and keep going, you remain on the path of transformation. The only real failure is quitting. Consistency also strengthens patience. We live in a world of instant gratification, where people want results immediately, but consistency teaches you that time is your ally. The longer you stay consistent, the greater the results. It trains you to appreciate progress rather than perfection. It helps you focus on the journey instead of being obsessed only with the destination. And when you finally reach your goal, you will realize that the process of becoming consistent was more valuable than the achievement itself, because it made you a stronger, wiser, and more disciplined person. Every great transformation in history is built on consistency. Artists who became masters painted daily. Athletes who became champions trained daily. Writers who created masterpieces wrote daily. Leaders who changed the world disciplined their minds daily. None of them relied only on bursts of inspiration. They relied on the power of consistency. The truth is simple. 1 day of effort will not change your life, but 100 days of effort will. 1 week of discipline will not transform you, but 1 year of discipline will. Transformation is always the result of time plus consistent action. When you accept this truth, you stop chasing shortcuts and start embracing the daily grind. So remember this: consistency is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is the slow and steady force that moves mountains, reshapes habits, and rewrites your destiny. If you want to transform your life, do not wait for motivation. Do not chase perfection. Just stay consistent. Because every time you repeat the right action, you are carving a new path, building a new identity, and shaping a new future. Consistency is the quiet architect of greatness, and if you give yourself to it, transformation is inevitable. Pain is a teacher, not an enemy, because every experience of struggle, loss, or discomfort carries within it a lesson that cannot be learned in comfort. Human beings often view pain as something to escape, something to avoid at all costs. We live in a world where convenience is celebrated and discomfort is rejected, but the truth is, without pain there is no growth, without challenge there is no strength, without hardship there is no wisdom. Pain shapes us in ways that comfort never can. When pain arrives, it shakes us out of our routines, it demands our attention, it forces us to see parts of ourselves we would rather ignore. A person can go through life believing they are strong, but only pain reveals whether that strength is real or imagined. Pain tests patience, it tests resilience, it tests courage, and in those tests it teaches. It teaches that you can endure more than you thought, that you can rise even when broken, that you can rebuild even when life takes everything from you. Think of the body as an example. When you lift weights, your muscles experience small tears. That tearing hurts, but that pain is not destruction, it is growth. The muscle repairs itself stronger than before. If you avoid the discomfort of exercise, your body weakens. If you embrace it, your body transforms. Life works the same way. Emotional and spiritual pain breaks you down in order to rebuild you stronger. Pain is the signal that growth is happening. What many people fail to see is that pain carries messages. Failure teaches humility, loss teaches gratitude, struggle teaches perseverance, betrayal teaches discernment. These lessons cannot be understood fully by reading books or hearing advice. They must be lived. You can read about resilience, but until life knocks you down and you find the strength to get up, you do not truly know it. You can talk about forgiveness, but until someone hurts you deeply and you choose to let go, you do not truly understand it. Pain forces these lessons into your heart, where they become part of who you are. The mistake people make is treating pain as an enemy. They run from it, numb it, or try to silence it. But when you treat pain as an enemy, you miss its wisdom. You bury it instead of learning from it. You delay growth instead of embracing it. The key is not to avoid pain, but to change your relationship with it. When it comes, ask, what is this teaching me? What strength is this building in me? What wisdom is hidden inside this struggle? When you see pain as a teacher, you no longer fear it. You welcome the lessons it brings. One of the most powerful truths about pain is that it reveals what truly matters. When life is easy, it is easy to be distracted by meaningless things. But when pain strikes, priorities become clear. You discover who your true friends are. You realize the value of health, of love, of time. Pain strips away the unnecessary and focuses you on what is real. In this way, it cleanses your life of illusions and shows you the truth. Consider a short but powerful example. There was once a young man who wanted to become a long-distance runner. At first, his training was filled with enthusiasm, but after the first few weeks, his body began to ache. His legs burned, his lungs felt heavy, and blisters covered his feet. He thought about quitting. The pain seemed unbearable, but instead of stopping, he listened to it. The pain taught him to adjust his breathing. It taught him to pace himself better. It taught him that his body could endure more than his mind believed. Months later, he was running distances he once thought impossible. When people asked him how he managed it, he did not say it was talent or luck. He said, "The pain was my coach." This story shows a truth that applies not only to running, but to all of life. Pain shows you your limits, but it also shows you that your limits can be expanded. It teaches endurance, discipline, and mental strength. The very thing that feels like it is breaking you is the same thing shaping you into someone stronger. Pain also builds empathy. When you have suffered, you understand the suffering of others. You become more compassionate, more patient, more human. People who have never struggled often lack depth, because they have never been forced to look beyond themselves. But those who have walked through pain carry a quiet wisdom. They listen differently, they care differently, because they know what it means to hurt. Pain humbles the heart, and in humbling, it makes it capable of deeper love. The most transformative lesson pain teaches is that it is temporary. No pain lasts forever. Even the deepest wounds heal, even the heaviest storms pass. When you understand this, you gain resilience. You stop saying, "This will destroy me," and instead say, "This too will shape me, and then it will pass." Pain loses its power when you stop fearing it. It becomes a phase of growth, a stage in your transformation, a stepping stone toward a stronger version of yourself. Of course, pain does not feel pleasant. No one asks for it. But looking back, many of the most painful moments in life become the most meaningful. People often say, "That struggle changed me," or "That loss made me who I am today." The things you curse in the moment often become the blessings you are grateful for later. Pain refines you like fire refines gold. It burns away weakness, doubt, and pride, leaving only the strength of who you truly are. If you want to live a meaningful life, you cannot run from pain. You must walk through it, learn from it, and let it shape you. Every scar carries a story. Every tear carries wisdom. Every struggle carries a gift. When you embrace pain as a teacher, you unlock its lessons instead of fearing its presence. You begin to see that pain is not here to destroy you. It is here to prepare you for the strength, wisdom, and character required to fulfill your purpose. So remember this: pain is not the enemy. It is the silent teacher guiding you to growth. When it arrives, do not resist it, do not numb it, and do not fear it. Ask it what it has come to teach you. Accept its lesson. Grow through it. Because when you do, you will discover that every pain you endured was a stepping stone toward the person you were meant to become. Focus on the present moment, because this is the only place where life truly exists. The past is gone. It lives only as memory. The future is not here yet. It lives only as imagination. The only time you can act, the only time you can change, the only time you can experience life is right now. Yet most people waste their energy either regretting yesterday or worrying about tomorrow. They replay mistakes, failures, and missed opportunities, or they project fears, doubts, and expectations about the future. In doing so, they miss the richness of the moment they are in, and when the present is lost, life is lost. The present moment is powerful because it holds your ability to make choices. You cannot change what you did yesterday. You cannot fully control what tomorrow will bring, but you can decide what you do right now. That decision creates your future. Each small action, each mindful choice, each present effort builds the foundation for what is coming. People often paralyze themselves with thoughts of how long the journey will take, how hard the path will be, or how far they are from the goal. But when you bring yourself back to the present, all you need to do is take the next step. The mountain becomes climbable because you are not focused on the peak. You are focused on the step in front of you. Being present also frees you from the chains of regret and anxiety. Regret keeps you locked in the past, wishing you could undo what cannot be undone. Anxiety keeps you locked in the future, fearing what may never happen. Both rob you of peace, both steal your energy, but when you anchor yourself in the present, regret fades and anxiety softens. You begin to realize that peace is not something you find later. It is something you create by choosing to live fully here and now. Many people live distracted, with their minds constantly racing. They eat while scrolling on their phones, work while thinking about home, rest while worrying about work. They are never truly present in any activity. As a result, they never taste food fully, never give their best to work, never rest deeply. They are always halfway somewhere else, but when you give your full attention to the present, life changes. A simple meal becomes enjoyable, a conversation becomes meaningful, a walk becomes peaceful. The ordinary becomes extraordinary when seen with full awareness. Focusing on the present also strengthens resilience. When life feels overwhelming, it is usually because you are thinking about everything at once. The weight of the past and the uncertainty of the future pile on top of you, but when you focus on this moment, the burden becomes lighter. You realize you do not need to solve everything right now. You only need to do the next thing. And when you do, momentum builds, clarity returns, and challenges become manageable. The present moment is also where joy lives. Think about children playing. They are not worried about tomorrow or regretting yesterday. They are absorbed completely in the game, laughing, running, and exploring. That is why their joy feels so pure. Adults lose that joy because they stop living in the moment. They carry burdens of past and future in their minds, and joy slips away. But if you return to the present, even for a few breaths, joy can be rediscovered. It is not hidden in some distant achievement. It is here, in the simple act of being alive. A short but excellent example can show this clearly. There was once a man who loved hiking. He set out one morning to climb a tall mountain. At the bottom, he looked up and felt overwhelmed by the distance. He worried about whether he had the strength to reach the top, whether the weather would hold, whether his legs would carry him. His mind raced ahead to every possible problem, but then he remembered something his mentor once told him: focus only on the step in front of you. So he stopped worrying and focused on one step, then another, then another. Hours passed, and without realizing it, he had reached the top. He stood there amazed, not because the journey was easy, but because he learned that focusing on the present moment is what makes the impossible possible. This story shows how the mind can either block you or free you. If you focus on the entire journey at once, it feels impossible, but if you focus on what you can do right now, it becomes manageable. Transformation, achievement, peace, all of it begins in this single moment. Living in the present does not mean ignoring the past or future. The past is valuable for its lessons. The future is valuable for its vision. But the only way to honor the past and build the future is to live well in the present. You carry the wisdom of yesterday and the hope of tomorrow into what you do today. That balance creates a powerful life. Focusing on the present also sharpens relationships. When you give someone your full attention without distractions, you make them feel valued. When you listen deeply without planning your response or letting your thoughts drift, you connect at a deeper level. Most people are starved of true presence because others around them are too distracted. But when you are fully present, you bring healing, love, and strength to those around you. The truth is that life itself only happens in the present. The breath you are taking right now, the words you are hearing right now, the thoughts you are thinking right now, this is life. Everything else is memory or imagination. If you live too much in the past or future, you miss the only life you actually have. But if you choose to live here, fully aware, fully engaged, you live more deeply in one day than many people do in a year. The mind is restless and will always try to pull you away from the present. It will tell you to dwell on mistakes or to fear what is coming. Training the mind to stay present is a practice, like training a muscle. It requires patience, mindfulness, and repetition. But each time you catch yourself drifting and bring yourself back to now, you are strengthening that muscle. Over time, presence becomes natural. You find yourself calmer, clearer, and more alive. So when life feels overwhelming, when your heart feels heavy, when your mind races, return to the present, take a breath, focus on what is in front of you, do the next small action, give your full attention to this moment. In that focus, you will find strength. In that focus, you will find peace. In that focus, you will discover that the present moment is not just a passing second, it is the doorway to transformation.